Ladies and gentlemen, we took a walk all the way from Lagazee to Harmony House to have one-on-one interview with MediSun. And MediSun is one great singer, and trust me, you can't deny that fact. He's a great singer. He said a whole lot from the transition, from the name King Ras to MediSun. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're ready, let's go to the Harmony House and go feel the vibes in terms of we talking to MediSun, King Ras.
Easy.
Yaad Settingz on Asaase Radio. We are nationwide. Asaase Radio, the voice of our land. 99.5 in Accra, 98.5 in Kumasi, 100.3 in Cape Coast, and 99.7 in another region, Tamale. My name is King Lagazee, and as I'm talking to you right now, I am in a Harmony House studio, owned by the legendary Beres Hammond. And I'm here together with my good brother for a long time. I know him to be King Ras. All of a sudden, is MediSun. I'm like, but yeah. What exactly happened? But he's like, it is the change. Now we'll find out from him the transition, how he started, how the transition happened in terms of he being called MediSun now. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest is the one named MediSun. How are you doing, my brother?
I give a thanks. Say they're in a place.
Yeah, man. Everything good, man. So, to start with, I want you to tell me about the Harmony House studio. Since Beres himself is not around, so I want you to tell me about this studio and the greats, the legend that walked through this door.
I mean, it's a who's who all the way from the foundation, the Dennis Browns, and the Maxi Priest, them Junior Reid. So many ones I've been through here up until the modern generation. The Cures, Ginger, all of the disciples of Harmony House, the pupils. And I'm one of the latest in that lineage. So I'm grateful to be a part of it,
All right. So, looking at Beres, I've spoken to Ginger on my show before, and he told me how Beres, recruited him and start, working with him, and even gave him the name Ginger and all that. How did yours happen?
In terms of the connection with Beres Hammond?
Yes.
All right. So in 2020, there was a writing camp put on by my sister Natalie. It was called Friends Only.
Okay.
And it was an amazing collection of artists. Some of them Jamaican and some from overseas. And Beres came and sat in, and he was the supervisor of the entire thing. Gave it the blessing, and from that time, because he heard my voice in that situation, and something clicked, because there's something about, I think, the lyrics and the way that I was delivering what I was saying, and he literally jammed me one side. He said, kid, or something. He said, kid, when you said that something there, sound like something with me would I say, like that style. Yeah, rebel style,
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the link, man.
Okay, so from that time, the link happened, and the rest is history.
He's just taking me on like another son, one of his many ones that he's picked up, and you would be surprised, as I've gotten to sit in with him and hear some stories. He's really influenced the evolution of not just reggae but Jamaican music in general. Dancehall is taking a lot of people who are big superstars now and giving them their first opportunities, but he does it quietly and humbly. So I'm not going to call any names, because when the time is right, I'm sure he'll tell his own story.
All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're reasoning with MediSun. Now, let's take it from King Ras time. Where were you born? How did you grow up? What kind of parents were you born to?
Well, my mother is from this beautiful island up in the hills in Clarendon. My father's from another island, Montserrat, off the coast of Antigua, a small island. The population is about 5,000 people.
All right.
So both of them migrated to Boston in, I think, the late 70s. They connected in the 80s, and the rest is history. My sister was born first. I was born next. So I'm actually American born. But, I'm at this point, I'm between here and the US, pretty much evenly. And that's pretty much my origin story. But musically, I come from a long line of musicians.
Mm-hmm.
My father was a recording artist by the name of Supreme, and his uncle, Reality, Everton Weeks, he wrote one of the biggest songs ever to come out of the Caribbean. Ole, 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 ole. Me heart on fire, me soul on fire, feeling hot, hot, hot. You know that one there?
Yeah.
So that's my lineage, and we're just
Wow.
bringing it forward into the current generation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So how was it like growing amongst your parents? Were they strict on you? Were they the Chechika type?
Very churchical. My father is actually a bishop. So in our home, the only two artists that were allowed to be played that were not gospel was Michael Jackson and Bob Marley. And I took on to both of those artists. I think you can hear the evidence in my vocal style. You can hear the R&B and you'll hear the reggae in it.
Yeah.
But as I grew, I really embraced Rastafari consciousness and my African, heritage. And so I got into like the Sizzla Kalanjis and the Garnet Silks and those people at that time growing up in the 90s. And at that point, I knew that when I, have my freedom, I want to join the ranks of these ones who are defending roots and culture.
Now, your father and your mother were both Chechika, right? And you pick up Rastafari now. Were there any argument at home?
Well, you see, good footsteps will always be following us. So eventually now, as I began to change my liberty, change how I consume food and how I do things, and they saw the results. And they see that no more pork not cooking at the house, and they started to take on more to what I was doing. But at first, of course, whenever there's change, there's going to be a little rocking of the boat. There's going to be some disruption. But with time, people see good results. They tend to embrace things.
At what age did music step in terms of recording for you as King Mas the Ras? And why that name though?
King Mas the Ras. So actually my first name I recorded under was Masika, Massicker, right? And at that time I was already doing my roots and culture music, and people would have called me King, regardless, as we do, amongst Rastafari. So eventually I moved from Masika into King Mas. And that name had to do with an event in Boston where I grew up, the Boston Massacre, which was where the Revolutionary War began, due to this incident where they killed a man, the British. They killed this man, and he was a black man. He was actually partially African. And that's how the entire concept of America breaking off from the British happened. So when I learned that as a child, and I grew up just maybe 20 minutes from that spot where that happened, I said, wow, like our legacy as a people, as black people, even in this place, all of America began because, one of us stood up to fight for America.
Of course.
So that was what inspired that name, that transition into King Mas. And then the MediSun transition happened at the end of 2019.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So in terms of recording now, I want to know, when did you realize that you had that kind of ability in you to sing, and when did you start writing your own lyrics?
Well, the singing ability is just as long as I can remember. Like I said, my mother I remember driving around in the vehicle with her, and she would play Bob in the vehicle. And I would just be singing along with Bob or anything that was on the radio, and sometimes she would pick up passengers and they would hear me because I'd be singing along. At 3, 4, 5 years old, they said, "What are you doing?" Mama vibes. So eventually, even in the church space, although of course, I'm a spiritual man, non-religious at this point, but being amongst those live musicians, being exposed to live music at that time, and being able to get in front of crowds and perform, and that kind of gave me that appetite, gave me the encouragement to get those reactions. And I began writing around the age of 11 or 12. I still have some of those original notebooks. And it would just be like one long verse. I didn't have any sense of structure. But I began recording officially when I was in university. That was around 2005. And after that experience, I did 1 year and I was like, I'm done. This is what I'm here to do. Music. And 2 Grammys later, I've managed to perform in, as far north as Austria. I've done Costa Rica. Of course, I've done South Africa, Zimbabwe. So I've been blessed so far. Not Ghana yet. You may wait for that. I mean?
Definitely. It will definitely happen. let's set our promotions right for MediSun, push him to the level so that at least Ghana will yearn for him. We're live on Asaase Radio, the voice of our land. On the show, Yaad Settingz, the most authoritative reggae dancehall and sound system culture show in Ghana. Live on Asaase Radio across the country. 99.5 in Accra, 98.5 in Kumasi, 100.3 in Cape Coast, and 99.7 in the northern region, Tamale. MediSun is our guest. Now, in terms of recording now, putting out your first record and all that, albums, EPs, when did that start, happening?
I released my first album, that was One Wish, in 2012. I did my second album with Nature to Entertainment, Rasta Evolution, and my third album, Crown, in 2019, sort of seal up the King Mass era, the King Mass trilogy.
Okay.
Yeah, and so currently now, because then I put out a mixtape on the Massacre in 2010, New Millennium Rasta, which is it has its cult following. Like it was
Yes.
On the ground level amongst the young Rasta community. I wanted it make an impact. So now we're working on a lot of things here at Harmony House. As I said, the Friends Only movement, that compilation is on its way, and I've been recording for a lot of different producers. So we have some big rhythm jugglings coming for this year. Zion Kings is one of them. I'm sure you know Tippy and them on there. We have a lot forwarding for this year.
So under the name MediSun now, there is no EP, there is no album yet.
Not yet.
Singles.
Loading.
All right.
It's loading, yeah, man.
All right. So when should we expect that?
This year.
This year?
Yeah. I have one EP.
You have no time to it?
What you say?
You have no time to it?
An exact release time?
Yeah.
Trust me, man. I know I said I eager to get this up. I know I say, I want to get this up. Them are forward, man.
All right.
This year, definitely.
All right. Now, we are in Reggae Month in Jamaica. And as you said, you are half Jamaican and half Montserrat. You understand me? I'd like to find out from you, being in Jamaica and celebrating Reggae Month, what does it mean to you as an artist?
It means everything. To be on this ground, and as you said, to be walking these halls and knowing the types of people, that are connected to this space just energetically. Have opportunities to work in other studios as well. I know you've been making the rounds, so you felt the energy in Tough Gang, in Harry J, and some of these places, and you know the sacred spaces that you're in. There's nowhere else on the planet that you can get this type of energy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, in terms of Reggae Month now, I've been going around Jamaica, going to places, trying to seek the knowledge of people on Reggae Month and all that. And look like some people even get vexed simply because they say Reggae Month is basically, celebrated around Bob Marley. And a lot of artists are there to be celebrated. The great Dennis Brown, Garnet Silk, Bonnie Wailer, Peter Tosh, all these artists are there. But look like the focus is more on Marley. You understand me? I go to other places and people are like, yo, listen, Lagazee, Marley, did a lot of things for me. Imagine that a man took his band, jumped on a plane with the whole band, went to Zimbabwe to perform for free and all that kind of thing. The man has done a lot, so he deserves to be celebrated and all that. Putting the two together in terms of people saying there are a lot of artists, and also from what people are saying that, yo, imagine that Marley had to go live in Trench Town, make sure that he put the place in shape, take care of people and all that kind of thing. He has done a lot and he got to be celebrated. Based on these two analogies, what do you make of that as an artist?
Even in this era, there are many, many great ones. There are many kings within the kingdom. Only King of Kings is His Majesty the First.
Of course.
So aside from that, every man have their domain and every man deserves their acknowledgement. But as you said, Bob is one of the great ones. But there's a time where he had to also be supported by other ones, Bonnie and Tash and the people around him. And he went on to inspire many more. We're all inspiring each other across time and space. You can, as you said, there are many names to call. There's Toots and the Maytals. There's John Holt. There's so many ones who have been here and tried on, and then there are those who are still here. The great Barry Salmon. Ken Booth. You know, there's so many names you can call that without them, there's no MediSun to bring forward. And it's our responsibility as this generation to remember where we're forwarding from, what the foundation is, and never leave out not even one brick, because that foundation are going to lean now, and that's going to create some issues. So we have to always just be circumspect in how we look at the culture, because it's the tradition is more than any one individual.
All right.
And not to look at the sisters, the Marcia Griffiths and Judy, I know Auntie Judy, I know one of them still there. Yeah, man, acknowledge all aspects.
All right. So again, people say you have to be Mali to win the Grammys. It has been said several times. You know what I mean? And just ended Grammys. Julian Mali, Juju picked it up. You know, because we had the likes of Burning Spear, we had the likes of Calibox, where we have the likes of Buju and Beanie Man. You understand me? And then the Mali picked it up. Do you think the children of Bob Marley are keeping the father's legacy to a level that, because Bob Marley wasn't rewarded when he was alive, now the children are getting the blessing from it?
I think that's something that we all strive for. You know, whatever, I'm sure that whatever you're doing, you want for your legacy too.
Of course.
Yeah, to be able to benefit, and you know, we're all building and standing on the shoulders of somebody. So, you know, we big up the Marley legacy, and at the same time, you know, certain accolades and all these things, you know, on a culture that's industry. So we don't want to confuse culture with industry. So I'm not an industry person. When I have a speak on certain things in terms of the academy.
MediSun!
Yeah, music with the culture with you.
All right. In terms of the name MediSun now, what does it mean?
Well, while we're in the 2020, so I'll actually rewind to 2019.
All right.
I was in South Africa. I was about to fly to Cape Town for the first time. And I just entered into a deep meditation. I was in a vehicle driving. And, you know, the sun was hot and it was big in the sky. And I just looked at it. And I was on a mission to spend 100 days in Africa. Wow. It was something that I wanted to do in my lifetime.
Okay.
This was day number 31. I'll never forget it, because I was journaling every day and writing down my experiences. And I heard a voice just say to me, you know, when this process is done, you're going to take on a new title. Your responsibility is going to shift. The King Mas era was about educating our people on our heritage. Because, you know, one thing you know about me, even taking on the name Musical Obia Man, it's something that was very revolutionary at the time. Because, you know, Obia and African spirituality is something that, in a country like this, which, although many people think Jamaica is Rastafari place, it's actually a very Christian nation. And so anything indigenous or cultural or traditional tends to frighten people, but I made it a point to infuse my music with that knowledge. So the King Mas era was about teaching that aspect, but the MediSun era is about healing. It's about healing.
So, but you said you were in a vehicle driving, and the sun was hot, and the thing hit you.
And then I just heard a voice. I just heard a voice saying, you're going to take on a new title. And like your responsibility and your purpose is going to shift from that teaching aspect to the healing aspect. So MediSun, it's two different aspects to it. So the Medi is the meditation, because I believe if we deal with two issues as a people, we'll see a lot of our issues, a lot of our struggles will shift immediately. Number one is the change of our mindset. To know yourself, to love yourself, and to really take your spiritual and your mental and your physical well-being seriously is going to absolutely transform us as a nation.
All right.
And the second aspect is the sun, because we, especially who have been taken out of the continent, almost 90% of us are vitamin D deficient. This affects our bone density, it affects our mood, it affects, you know, our psychology, our physiology, everything. So even if it's 20-30 minutes per day, we have to be outside. But remember, during this time, what would they say? Go inside, quarantine, stay inside. So that name was sort of developed as a reminder to our people, meditation, and get outside, get into nature.
All right.
Yeah, man, and most of our problems will be solved as soon as we can fix these issues.
So I want to say something to what you just said, that you were in a car and the whole thing hit you and a voice came to you. This happened to me at a clash on the 8th at the original Dancer Thursdays. When in the tune for tune, I was down 3-0, right? And we're playing best of 7. I mean, winning the 4th one means a clash done. So being down by 3-0, then I heard the legendary Peter Metro says, African, look like the clash done. Final entry. You understand me? So right now, then I turned to him and looked at him and said to him that, yo, listen, clash not done yet. And then going onto my laptop, I heard like a tap on my shoulder and a thing whisper into my ears, play Anthony Johnson. I turned around and I didn't see anybody. So I was like, all right, no problem. I just go in there, put it on it, and the table turned. And the next one, the table turned. And they come to 3-3 and then 3-4.
Slap way.
You understand? So
yeah.
I see that particular connection, especially when you are connected to your African root. You know what I mean? Anything you need, it will come to you at the right time. So I believe in that. You understand me? So from you take on the name MediSun now, how has the journey been like for you?
It's been amazing. It's been amazing. As I said, I managed to secure, and like we just said, it's industry talk. But
yeah.
I was able to secure my 2nd Grammy last year.
Yeah.
For working with my brother Kabaka Pyramid on the Colin album. I managed to connect with beautiful ones like, the Hammonds, and so many different things have unfolded for me. And I think it's just about clarity of purpose.
Okay.
What do they call it? Ankrabia. Is that the term for like knowing your divine function?
Yeah.
Because we're all sent here with a purpose, a specific purpose to carry out. So
in Krabia.
Yeah. So that's
ladies and gentlemen, what kept you as you're saying Krabia? It's women in Tino.
Yeah, I still have to learn.
Yeah, of course.
I just want to continue pushing knowledge to our people, healing to our people, and to keep roots and culture flourishing. Because as you know, the sound because you probably notice as you're driving and moving in the street, if you're hearing reggae music, it's probably reggae from maybe 2010 and before.
Yeah.
Everything else is like this kind of darker modern dancehall with the trap hip hop kind of element. Well, there are some of us here who are on the front line to preserve what these great ancestors have built.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're in the house of one of the pillars of the community. So, yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, in wrapping up with MediSun right now, let me find out from him what exactly the situation look like in the future line. He said singles are going to flow. He said albums are going to happen and all that. Let us know from him. For how many years have you planned in terms of staying with Harmony House?
There's one thing that Father, he said so many things to me. If I were to give you the quotes of all of the things he said to me and things he's taught me, we'll be here all day. I know you don't have all day. But one thing he said to me was, kid, again, that's also taught to me, kid, I don't need you to reinvent the wheel. It's already been built. It's here for you. All I'm asking for you to do is to protect it.
Wow.
So that is my mission. As long as I have breath, this house is my house.
Wow. MediSun, he said, this house is my house. The Harmony House. Okay, so wrapping up, what message do you have for the whole of Africa, Ghana, and the world listening to you right now on Yaad Settingz on Asaase Radio?
Well, essentially, what I love about what has happened in the recent couple of decades is that we've really begun to know and see and demonstrate that we are one people.
Definitely.
We are one people. Whether you look at the music, the rise of the African sound and the connections we've been making, and I've been pushing this concept of Bantu Nation from the tallest time, because from the continent to the Caribbean, to the mainland, South America, Latin America, there's so much that bonds us together more than what divides us. And sometimes they try to tell us that, Africans don't accept, if we try to go back, they're going to say, who are you? You're foreigner, vice versa. They try to tell Africans, don't mix up with the Americans, or don't. But when you check it out and you really look at certain things, the same dukuno that you cook, we cook it, you know.
Of course.
So, yeah, lots of our traditions we've maintained.
Yeah.
Our oneness, and that's what it boils down to. And as long as we maintain that oneness, you know, Bob Marley's been asking for Africa to unite, and many of us have been asking for Africa to unite. But it's not just the continent. Globally,
those at home
and abroad. Yeah, man.
You're right.
Marcus Garvey.
Yeah,
That
man.
is it.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
man. Our oneness, man.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'd like to say thank you so much for. Do you have anybody to say hi to? Do you have anybody to big up in Ghana, Africa, anywhere?
All about, man. But if I'm going to say Ghana, I have to big up my virgin Obi. I don't know if you know Obi. Yeah, man.
I'm going to call him right
I've
away.
known Obi since he was a teenage boy.
Okay.
That's my enemy.
Yeah.
And from Massacre days, you know.
Yeah.
We found.
Yeah.
And we've always been good. So
Nice.
big up Obi. And yeah, I have to big up just the whole African nation, the whole of Ghana.
All right.
Pure love.
Respect. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been nice reasoning with MediSun.
Also, one more person actually. I have to big up Mama Zion Pantan.
All right.
I know if you know Zion.
Yeah.
I'm a mom of that.
All right.
She live from Jamaica. She gone and she's a dancer. She's good.
Definitely. Mama Zion, big up yourself, man.
Yeah.
My name is King Lagazee. It's been a wonderful talk with MediSun on Yaad Settingz on Asaase Radio. We'd like to say thank you so much for your time and space for listening to us on the show, Yaad Settingz. Love you.
Easy.